So it'll be a quick little video over my trade today, Monday, 26th. All right, so this was a long position, so I put in a buy. I got about 9 pips because I closed a little bit early. I had 5 pips of drawdown. This was USDJPY. I took my entry around 819, 820, and exited around 830, so I wasn't in for very long. The push came around 8:15, a little before that, so I was just a little bit late. And it retested around 8:45 and 10:45. We had a continue push later on in the day. So my keys here was that there's a cross on the lower time frame. I think on the 15, this one right here is the 5. I had anticipated the cross of the 14 and the 200, and it was clear that there was a lot of bull momentum and a range to be filled. Since it's Monday, I did only one position with a small lot. Just because on Mondays and Fridays, I'm pretty conservative with how I do everything. My TP was for around 12 pips, but I closed out at 9, and right as I closed, it shot through and would have went to my TP, but right after it just went up a few more pips, and then it did go back down to retest. So I think that I timed my entries pretty well. Let's see, let me annotate this real quick. So you can see that we had some support right here. And I was kind of waiting for this to come up and maybe come back down to retest here because the EMA hadn't caught up. But we came down and retested, and then I got in. I got in right here, so I saw it about here, and I knew that we had rejected off the EMA, and it was acting as dynamic support. So that's why I made my entry on there, and then we had pushed, and then we had the push for the day. So let's see the other time frame. So same thing, you can see that this EMA right here was acting as dynamic support, and we had that cross on the 15-minute. And looking over here to the left, we had range that needed to be filled with that bull momentum. Here's another good example for the hourly time frame. This EMA was acting as dynamic support. We had a ton of bullish momentum going up and closing above the EMA and having it act as support. So I knew that we'd probably go and fill that range. All right. And so this was my range that I had. This wick right here was looking left, kind of a interesting, or kind of the area of interest for price. So my stop would have been below these wicks over here. I entered in around here, and I wanted to fill the rest, not all of this range, but I think I exited about right there. So I wasn't trying to get the entire range, but it looks like I could have. And I think right after we had hit this range, we went right back down and retraced a little bit. Yeah, so you can see that cross of the 14 and the 200 right there, and that support that had been respected. So I think, yeah, so this was my original TP area, and then I had exited around right there. We came back down to retest that support like I thought before. EMA was still acting as dynamic support, and then we continued up through that. And I think that one was around, I think 10:45. We can go into trading view and see how that looked real quick. So, yep, it looks like it basically went all the way up to my range and then has come back down and rejected. Since we are in overall downward momentum, I wasn't trying to be trying to get too many pips really, because we were in a downtrend. And with this zone right here that I have, that is going to be in confluence with the 50 EMA right there. So looks like that would have been a good sell. And then you can see that I was using this wick as kind of a reference, this multiple touch. And on the 15, you can see the cross of the 14 and the 50, and then that cross of the 200 and the 14, and that. So when I had taken my entry was, I think, above this somewhere here to go up, and then we did come back down to retest that. Let's see when that was. That was 9:15 around when we came and retested, and maybe even like 10, kept retesting it until around 10:30, and then around 11:15 was when we filled the rest of this range. So this right here was around 10:30, and then filled this wick. Filled that wick probably at like 11:15. So that's why I made my trade today and how I saw everything. This one was pretty straightforward. I got my pips and then I finished for the day since it was Monday. Just went ahead and went back to bed right after I was trading, and it looks like it's still following the zones pretty well. My guess would be that we'll probably come down to maybe this area, but I normally don't see too many trades for Asian session on the beginning days of the week, so I'll probably stay out a little bit. I did take a quick trade with GJ because I normally do daily wick fills, and I was looking to fill that daily wick right there because we had a little bit of bullish momentum, but I did kind of fail to realize that that zone that I had was in confluence with the daily EMA, which was a big mistake. We rejected really hard. Let's see. Yeah, I bet I wouldn't be surprised if we filled this wick right there. All right, let's see how the hourly looks. Yeah, so I did place just like the same one position small buy after this because I thought that we had broken through here, and it looked like the EMA was being respected as support, which ended up just being a fake out. And I saw that we had these kind of higher lows that I thought we were creating, so I thought that it was possible for us to fill maybe this range, which we didn't, but that's fine. So yeah, so you can kind of see this resistance area that I saw. So it looked like we had broken up, come down to retest, and I thought that we would continue up. We ended up just breaking through that, crossing here, and now we're just plummeting down, which we are in that downward momentum overall. So it's not too surprising. Let's see how the 5-minute looked. And this was for Asian session about the time that the daily wick flow happened. So I was kind of looking at that resistance that looked like it had turned support because we had that cross, and it looked like we had the 14 and the 200 cross as well. Came down to retest that and went up. So I had my entry around here. Let me clear this. I had my entry around here. We went up for, let's see, how many pips? I can't see that. For like 6-7 pips. And then continued to go down. So that was just a fake out. So then after that, we just went down. And then everything crossed again right up there. So that's one reason why I take it really easy on Mondays. And like I said, sometimes there's not that many great setups in the middle of the week, but I thought that since we were kind of in the middle of the range and it looked like we had really had a hard time and had rejected off of that, so I figured that we would probably reject off here, maybe go up, fill that range, just continue this consolidation for a little bit, but that's not what happened. So I took my trade and it got stopped out, and I haven't traded since then. So for me, generally I look for like one trade a session. So for me, I was looking for a buy and I was wrong, so I'm just not going to trade anymore. And same for UJ. When I won my position, I hunted it and got my pips, and then I shut the screen and I was done for that session. So that's generally how I like to trade. I know that some other people hyper scalp a little bit more, but for me, I really like to hunt one, maybe two trades per session, and then just be done. Because normally for me, the first few trades that I take are really good, really profitable, and then if I do lose, I just start chasing my losses and trying to revenge trade. So that was just kind of a little explanation of the two little trades that I took today for Monday.